Welcome to the second episode of High Performance Business. We made it.
Yes, people said it wouldn't last.
We are here, of course, because the sport is only half the story. I'm Natalie Pirks.
Yes, I'm Colin Murray. We're both journalists, we're both sports fans, and we want to understand more about the business of sport. We'll do all the legwork, but we want to bring you along for the ride.
Yeah, and as always, our conversation will be entirely shaped by what you want to talk about, what you want to hear. So please send us a message on Instagram. You can DM us at highperformance.business, and we will take it all on board.
You will, I never look at it. But today we're going to be talking about two things. Firstly, football shirt sponsorship. It's right in our face all the time. Every time we've watched football, right back into the mid-1970s. We're going to look at how it's changed through the decades, how it's absolutely changing going into this Premier League season, and we detail why. And I think maybe the most interesting part of it is how the sponsors themselves have changed. And ask yourself this question: what does a global financial service get out of spending £60 million a year putting their name on the front of Liverpool's shirt?
Plus, can NBA Europe succeed where NFL Europe didn't? The biggest basketball league on the planet has received 20 bids for franchises from 12 major cities, with all roads leading to its launch in October of next year. You are all over this.
Yeah, can I just say that was brilliant, because I know how nervous you were about just NBA, NFL.
It's not my thing.
MLB.
Yeah.
I didn't even mention NHL because I didn't want to jeopardize a relationship this early.
Don't blow up a blonde's head this early.
The thing is, and this is my bag, and I promise you it will be interesting. I promise you it's not just going to be an American sports conversation. The interesting bit is, does Europe need it? And just as importantly, does Europe want it? And as I said that, I realised that was quite Brexity.
Which is sort of similar to where we're going with shirt sponsorship. So there's really, really big changes this season. But first of all, indulge me.
Yeah.
What are the big sport or shirt sponsorships that you can recall, that you can remember?
Well, first of all, because I'm above corruption, in the same way that any FIFA president is. I looked at this before I researched this story because I wanted to give you the honest answer. And that answer is not many. To my shame, it took me ages to remember Standard Chartered was Liverpool's, and we'll get to the reasons why. I then got two in a row because they're airlines, but they also sponsor the stadiums, right?
Yep,
Etihad, Emirates.
Yep.
And I know there's 3 letters in the front of Spurs shirt, which I believe is AIA, which is 4, right? And they, I think, do insurance. And outside of that, a whole load of betting ones I'm not going to mention now, and that will connect to this season and the big changes. So let me throw it back on you, because you love this. When like an episode and a half in and you're always like, you know this. Who sponsored Chelsea? So go back to the beginning of last season. Who sponsored Chelsea? Visualize the shirt. Visualize the shirt.
I mean, all I can see is blue.
That's because that's all there was. They didn't have a sponsor going into the season.
Okay.
Can you imagine that kind of thought process of a team in the biggest league in the world, for whatever reason, starting a season without a front of shirt sponsorship? But even though they've scrambled going into this season, Chelsea and other clubs, to get that sponsor, in mid-July, when we were watching, thankfully, Argentina lose the World Cup final, there was still 6 Premier League sides didn't have a front of shirt sponsor. Natalie's going to tell you exactly why.
Yeah, I mean, commercial directors have been working overtime this year specifically because the Premier League took a voluntary vote a while back and banned gambling sponsors from the front of shirts from this season onwards. And it was following discussions with the government. The government were weighing up stricter legislation on gambling advertising, and it meant the league, by saying, look, we'll do it ourselves, it meant they could manage the transition on their own terms. Yeah. It showed a concerted effort to protect, greater social responsibility. Look what we're doing. It's a really good thing. Having betting sponsors is a headache, because if you want to use players in your adverts, they've got to be over 25 because of UK law. Betting companies had to take their name off the front of any kids' shirts. And even this year, like Everton and Villa, who've moved their betting companies to the shirt sleeve, slightly slamming the stable door after the horse has bolted. But they're going to have to remove even the shirt sponsor from the kids' shirts as well. But it was lucrative, and that's the case here, isn't it?
Because it's massive across all of sports business, because this is not just about shirt sponsorship, But it looks like the ball will roll towards a place where you can't have a betting company sponsoring a major darts tournament or snooker tournament or boxing event. And if and when it gets to that stage, get ready for a huge decrease in prize money in those tournaments, because that's the purse that will get hit first. And whatever your view is on betting in sport in terms of the sponsorship, they supply so much of the purses and so much of the money that goes into the governing bodies. So we'll probably talk about this many times, but football this season will change with the sponsors on the front of the shirt. So let's just get this clear, Natalie. A lot of people can have a drink and that's it. Thankfully, in that place, I know people who aren't, and it's an addiction. And it's the same with gambling. 95% of people can have a bet, but the 5% that don't, it can be life-ruining. This is a really serious issue. So moving it off the shirt is designed to hopefully not encourage people to fall into that trap, or for people underage to want to bet. So we can't see that. And that's good, right? But you've already said we can see it on the side of the shirt. So apart from the side of shirts, the digital advertising, the sleeve sponsors, the stadium advertising and other commercial partnerships. But apart from that, we will be protecting people from seeing these gambling adverts. And the pitch side advertising boards that are all over your TV when you watch it. But apart from that, this is a blow. This is striking a blow for protecting our children.
Are you
from
being
gambling.
a little facetious, Colin?
No, I'm just...
It's not like you.
I'm absolutely just heaping non-sarcastic praise onto the entire football governance. There is a little bit of that. It feels a little bit like the initial warning on a packet of cigarettes.
Yeah.
But I will say this, in the UK, we have some of the strictest guidelines for protecting people from gambling. There will be those that say that they do not go far enough. I'd imagine there would be a lot of people saying this doesn't go far enough.
I think clubs will say, if for a bit of balance here, I think clubs will say we've just taken a 20% in some cases hit on the money we can make in order to do this thing that we didn't have to do. So in their defense, I guess you would say they're trying to do something for the social good.
Yeah. I think they'll be all right finding space to advertise, but it's not going to be in the front of the shirt sponsorship. And that's what we're honing in today on our second episode of High Performance Business. Let's go through it bit by bit, because what really intrigues me here, Natalie, is what do you get out of it? Because our sponsors used to be things that we could buy, a washing machine, a bottle of beer, even a chocolate bar, the high street bank that you could go into. Now it's global financial services, big insurance companies, and now gambling's gone out of the way. Fun fact, since the beginning of the Premier League, there's a huge percentage of products advertised in front of Premier League shirts that we can't even buy, that we can't even access the services in the UK. So there's a big picture at stake here. So let's say Standard Chartered, this bank that you need international banking needs or high worth clients or business banking requirements. So it's not available to all. They're going to shell out about 60 million to advertise for Liverpool this year, and there's so many like them. So what do they get out of it? Because this is such a far cry from Crown Paints, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a long way from a local company sponsoring their local team. I guess in the way that you get in the National League or in the League Two or whatever, it tends to be local companies that have an affiliation and I guess similar to how Newcastle Brown Ale did with Newcastle in the 90s.
Yeah.
There was a real local, fans loved that.
All-time great.
Or one of the all-time greats.
Great kit.
But we don't really have that anymore. So what do they get out of it? Is it brand awareness? Let's come to it. Do you want to know first how you go about being the sponsor of a club?
Me?
Yeah. Would you like to know?
Well, I know Billy Hogan at Liverpool, so I would just...
Such a name dropper. Look
Billy,
at
it's Big C here.
that. Big
I've just
C.
come into a lot of money from a really successful podcast that, to be honest, didn't think it was going to work at the start. Yeah, no, she's actually nice. She's actually nice. I know, but it goes to show you don't believe things that are written on the internet. Yeah, put me down. That's how I would do it. How do you actually do it?
Would you like to know?
Yeah.
Properly. So I didn't know. So I rang a friend who's been doing a deal with a big Premier League club recently. There are 3 ways. One is the commercial team at the club do the reach out. They'll reach out to all industries that they think might be interested in sponsoring that club. So Premier League, like I said, big companies, League Two, National League, maybe more local. The other way is agents. Agents try and get involved to maximise a specific market. So for example, Wrexham, if you're Wrexham,
Yep.
you might want a lot of American companies because
Yep.
you've got that whole tie-in. And then a third less likely way is that you get companies with big budgets who really want to hit their marketing spend with a specific club. Fulham, I discovered, gets a lot of approaches like this because they're basically Switzerland, aren't they? They're inoffensive. No one hates them. Global Premier League brand.
Yeah. You say that, and where should you go and watch football? Once you get beyond going to see Haaland score for Man City or visit the Cup at Anfield, when you get beyond that like heavyweight journey, the very first thing we all say is,
Craven Cottage.
well, you got to go to Craven
Got to
Cottage.
go to the cottage, yeah, 100%.
The walk's great. Do you know you can get a boat there? You know, it's the
Exactly.
same. Yeah, absolutely.
Used to have a statue of Michael Jackson. What's not to love?
Yeah.
A
a lot about that, but let's move on. Yeah.
So once the deal's actually done, the due diligence on that company then gets done. So a few of the gambling companies, when it was gambling last season and beyond, they were found to promote things like cockfighting and banned sports on their websites. Of course, they had to do away with all of that before they could get involved with the Premier League. And then, as we've said this year, the commercial teams have had to work that bit harder. Fulham actually now has a global tech and AI sponsor, as does Palace. Then it goes through the lawyers, and then finally you get the negotiations on the bonuses and the fees. So with all of that in mind, given it takes a long time, there's a lot of money involved, what are they getting out of it?
And I know the view of me and my mates in the pub, anytime it comes up, is game's gone. Game's gone. Like, why are they on the front of the shirt? Why would they bother? And we always talk about it in this terms. We used to refer to the shirt by the sponsor. Have you got the Crown Paints Liverpool kit? Have you got the Carlsberg Liverpool kit? Sharp, the Sharp unit. You know exactly
classic.
what I mean when I say the Sharp unit. I'm saying I'm looking at the entire crew of iPerformance Business, 63 people, all nodding their heads at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Now, nobody says that. Nobody's ever said, oh, the Chase kit or the AIG kit or the whatever it is. But that's not the point. When you actually dig into it, absolutely it's worth the money. So think about it in the most base way, which is the old style of advertising. You know, pre-internet, it was flyers and billboards and television ads and radio ads. Well, you're putting a billboard out there, and if they get the kit right, that billboard's going to exist for years after your investment, because just like Crown Paints are still getting advertisement for those Liverpool retro kits. But more importantly, at that moment, that goes into every market around the world. Sponsoring kits here is no longer about the business of the UK. It's about the business of the world. And let's imagine that you're a global financial service that hasn't been able to crack Asia, right? And you really want to do it. And you look across the teams in the Premier League and you see a guy called Son playing for Spurs. And you know that people travel from Asia in their tens of thousands every week in an effort just to be near him. And that he's a hero. You put him in your billboards in Asia, you put your name in his shirt, and you've done almost all of your groundwork in that country without having to leave New York. So it's a master stroke of advertising, really. We don't have to like it. I'm sure a lot of Traditionals fans don't like it. But it is a reality of the growth of the Premier League and its global status that is attracting advertisers that see it as the keys to a kingdom. And based on the players in that team, like you said, and based on that squad, pick a kingdom, any kingdom. That was the first take I got out of it, and we don't talk much before we record. When you looked at the reasons why a global company would spend that 60 million when most people in the stands wouldn't use the product, what did you find?
I took one specific case study. So who sponsored Palace during their cup run? Their FA Cup, first ever time they won it. Can you name them?
That's brilliant. So we're going back in time. Oh, I can see the kit. Go ahead.
Bet 88.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have it.
So that whole run, obviously, to the final, and that joy around the final and the fans and the tifo and the brilliant, what they did, they looked at the media value. So the metric is, it's a metric that determines the monetary value of digital and social content based on audience exposure and engagement.
Yes.
Right? Sorry, that's wordy, but that's what they look at.
That was sexy.
They determined that run to that final was worth in excess of £31 million to them, 4 times what they paid.
Wow.
So,
Can we just say it's a bit of an outlier there, Crystal Palace winning the FA Cup.
of course.
But they do okay.
Yeah.
And so that's before you you take into account the Premier League, if they'd only reached the quarter-final, if they'd have finished 2 places below, you can start to see how the maths add up with a lot less success.
Yeah, but still 4 times getting to the final. They get to the quarterfinals, they probably doubled it.
Correct.
So that's why you would sponsor a club like Palace or a club like Fulham, because, they might not go on a cup run every single season, but there was definitely a huge value that company put on that shirt.
What about this angle, which might be, for want of a better word, bollocks? What about that connection to emotion? Because I was thinking, like, have you got to be careful about sponsoring the Titanic? You put your name in the front of a team that have a remarkably bad season, and the last shot of the season is the captain arguing with the goalkeeper, and they're being divided. They're being separated by the manager, who's in tears.
Well, it's AIA,
is that a good
isn't
connection to your brand? And I think the answer is yes.
Oh, interesting.
I think the minute you're on that shirt, what it actually translates to is just brand recognition. The most straightforward thing, we don't need to be a sports business podcast to talk about that. And I think you get an instant credibility or legitimacy, at least. And I actually think you're connected to emotion, and you're connected to belonging, and you're connected to something real that goes beyond the head. The same reason people sponsor podcasts, the same reason these days people look at events rather than the straightforward, you're a customer. They try and say, no, we're involved in the thing that you love. I don't think it matters. Happiness makes you cry. Sadness makes you cry. The same emotion. I actually just
almost getting relegated must make you cry, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you were a AIA, isn't it, that sponsors Spurs? See?
They're not going to sponsor us now, are they?
If you're them, I'd love to be a fly on the wall. Like, Spurs didn't just take relegation on a date. They basically almost slept with it. I mean, they almost married it.
I think they'd be saying, great. I think they'd be saying, great, could you sack another manager? Because every picture and every back page of every newspaper's got our logo on it.
Certainly busy last year.
Because this is what you've never had in a bar, right? Sorry, who's your football team?
I can't tell you.
You don't reveal your football team?
No, because
really?
I was a BBC journalist for 13 years.
You're
I would have been
now.
suicide.
Get off the fucking thing, tell me.
I can't, because you and I are going to fall out on episode 2.
United?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is United. All right, fine. I'm a plastic scouser, so I don't get into it. So you're in a bar with your mates, right? Who sponsors United right now? Is anyone? Snapdragon, thank you. So you're in a bar with your mates, right? Season's gone. This season we're going into goes really bad, which I don't think it will, unfortunately, under Michael Carrick. Jeez. But anyway.
In Michael, we trust.
You're in the bar, right? You're fighting for relegation. It's mid-March. Your mates will go, why did we keep him? Why did we give him that transfer window? Your other mates will go, give him another transfer window, right? Someone else will say, that player doesn't care about the shirt. He doesn't give 100%. Will anyone in that bar at any stage go to you, I'll tell you what the problem is, fuck Snapdragon. No, it doesn't affect their brand at all.
No, true.
So in a way, it's genius.
Yeah.
Because you're not actually putting yourself under the success of anything. So it doesn't work like that. And outside of the UK, this bubble that we are in, you aspire just to walk through the doors of Old Trafford once.
True.
You aspire to just be able to fly into Heathrow and take the long train to the Emirates and stand in that horrible bowl of a stadium. That's what you do, right?
They do a great buffet at Arsenal. It's just going to say.
Nothing against Arsenal. It sounds alien to me as a council estate boy, and it sounds alien to you as kind of a middle to upper class woman.
Council estate, Luton, teenage parents, thank you very much.
I'm the posh one in this podcast. That's brilliant. Let's move my seat slightly over here. I love Luton. We need to talk about that more.
Maybe not now.
Oh my God. Anyway.
Kenilworth Road is incredible.
Let me just say, it's good that you support your local team. But all those things that are alien to us are huge for a company, and that could be worth 10 million to them. Just by bringing people into the dressing room, by, you get to meet the manager. Oh, I'll get you a signed shirt by the team. Seems so small, but it could actually make up a huge amount of your investment.
Yeah.
But what is the investment? What are they actually paying? Because all I know is Liverpool pay about 60 million, and I think most of the top clubs are about that.
Top 6, you're looking probably around that amount. Interestingly, most, if not all, have obviously taken quite a dip because of this whole gambling thing that we've already spoken about.
Do betting companies pay more than insurance companies?
Yes. If you think about the gambling company Betway that's now on United's training kits.
Out of sight, which is great. Don't take drugs, kids.
I mean, not out of sight because they're in the Champions League. So back in the big time, 20 million quid a year. To them, it's worth every penny.
Just for the training kit?
Just for the training kit. But think about it. Every time that Michael Carrick or Bruno Fernandes is interviewed at the training ground, they're in Betway.
Every time they do that, I'm thinking, is there a horse race this afternoon? I could put a fiver on. It is that straightforward. It puts it back in people's minds.
There you go. To them, it makes absolute financial sense to be associated.
I think that's everything. I think shirt sponsorship, the changes, you did a much better job than I did of explaining that. But the reasons why, that ability to enter a market, that emotional connection, that access that you have, the digital pull that it has, and all of those things together, that's an advertiser's dream. I would go as far as to say they're getting a bargain, being able to be in the front of Man City's kit or Arsenal's kit or whoever. I'm just naming teams here. So instead, let me add two things. First thing, what is your emotional connection to a kit? Where do you go to in the old days?
Oh, Sharp, obviously,
Right.
United.
Yeah.
And do you remember the green and black kit
Oh
with
my God,
the...
yeah.
Oh, sexy, right?
It was iconic, yeah.
It was iconic.
Yeah. I'm like...
Kanchelskis.
Crime. Yeah, see, that's the key.
Yeah.
So
It's the emotion and the connection to the players that you loved of the 90s for me.
Mine would have been Crown Paints, but again, the players, Zane Rush in it, it's Kenny Dalglish in it, and all stuff like that. It's funny, we can date people by their favourite kit, same as email addresses.
Yeah.
Like, you probably get a Hotmail, I've got a Hotmail. My mate, you do have a Hotmail, don't lie. A mate of mine still has AOL. You know when you still have to put the disc in? There's no equivalent to that.
Amazing.
That's one.
Yeah.
Secondly, do you want to hear my favourite kit sponsor I find?
I'd love to, please.
Can I just, because we went very much in our teams, can I just give a shout out for Holston and Spurs, who I think outside of our teams is like, you mentioned Newcastle Brown Ale, I put that up there as well, but Holston on Spurs was just legendary.
Yep.
What a kit
Agreed.
that was. Angry Birds on Everton is brilliant. West Brom in the 1980s had no smoking. So they were actually sponsored as a public advertising campaign to make people aware of cigarettes. 3, and I promise you we'll move on. What was the first sponsorship? You know, I'll always have a nerdy fact for you.
Of any club of all time.
Of all time.
Oh, go on. I love your nerdy facts.
It was Kettering Town Football Club. And they were the first ever English club to wear a sponsor. It was back in 1976. People were outraged. They had the same conversation that we have when FIFA pull their latest trick. Do you know what I mean? Because it is a drip, 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 isn't it? Kettering tyres.
Amazing.
Right. And I've never ever wanted to own a Kettering Town kit until now. Somebody out there in the world of sports business that does merchandise, find out that shirt and get that shirt out.
There is a niche company in Manchester that sells retro kits, and I bet you he can get hold of Kettering tyres.
I won't do it, but I will be really resentful of the person that does. Excellent.
Know what to get you for your birthday.
Yeah. Listen, if you've got any thoughts on that, even if we don't read them out on air, send them to us on the Facebook,
Facebook?
Sorry, I knew I was going to mess up the social media. Right, send it to us. There's ways you can do it. MySpace, Bebo, and if you've got a Tamagotchi that connects to the Wi-Fi, you'll be able to send that to us on our Instagram.
Please go to Instagram.
At least I'm being honest.
Highperformance.business.
What is it?
Highperformance.business.
That's what it is.
This
All
guy.
right.
Right. So speaking of front of shirt sponsors, here are some of ours.
Let's talk about something you might not notice, but you definitely benefit from. Industrial AI isn't just about chatbots or productivity hacks. It's powering the industries that shape our daily lives.
Whether it's the construction of new cities or the delivery of essential services, IFS.ai is at the heart of all of it. Over 1 billion people globally connect every day using mobile networks maintained with IFS.ai.
We're proud to have IFS as a partner of High Performance Business. You can discover more at ifs.ai.
Welcome back. And we're going to move on to our next story, which is right up your Strasser. We're going to talk about the latest attempt by a hugely successful American sport to break the European market. This time it's basketball, NBA Europe, and it's set to launch in the second half of next year. So please, Colin, explain this to us and to me mainly, like I'm 10, because American sport is not my thing. It's very much yours. So first of all, give us a potted history. And I'm saying short history, please, Colin, of American sport in Europe? Go.
So I'm going to focus on the UK. And I'm going to give you a potted history that you're absolutely going to love of American sports
I'll
here.
be the judge of that.
We're going to start with the NFL, which had an explosion here when Channel 4 launched. Channel 4 is where you'll find Countdown, which I host.
Oh my God,
So-
shameless.
It was brilliant. We were playing it in the playgrounds, and they that was when we had their first game over here, way back in the 80s, and it exploded on the Channel 4. And that was really the birth of American football here. However, you need to fast forward to 2007 when the NFL decided, hey, we want to regularly have games in the UK. And when they first did it, they cocked it up monumentally. And you remember without remembering. Do you remember when the Wembley pitch was torn up?
Yes.
And we had like the FA Cup final or the Carabao Cup or whatever it was back then, the Littlewoods, whatever it was. And everyone was like, get your American football the fuck out of our country. Stop ruining our pitches. We don't want it here. Don't say soccer, even though we invented the word and told you to say it, right? We have that sentiment. Yeah. And they had a choice right then to say, look, we've been out for a night. It didn't go well. It was bad sex, and we're just going to leave it. And instead they said, no. We're going to come back, and we're going to forge a relationship with this country. We're going to show the UK that we're actually here to have a relationship with them. They took a hotel because the players en masse hated it. They took a hotel where the players couldn't sleep in the beds, where they couldn't fit into the showers, and they refurbished the entire hotel for when they came back in the second year. And we had this run of one game, and gradually it got better and better and better. It became more normal and more normal and more normal. And that's because they invested in the relationship, Natalie. Are you still with me?
I'm holding on.
Right. They would close off Regent Street to have a big street fair, right? And this is about Europe. It's fans coming from all over Europe. They would make sure they had access to the same merchandise that fans had in Kentucky, that you could get the same thing in Birmingham, Alabama, as you could be in Birmingham in England. And they said, we want to be in a meaningful relationship with you. I can see you're glazing over. Fast forward to today. It's 3 games. And it is as normal as the netball at the Copper Box. Let's say this straight. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is an American football stadium. It doesn't host American football. It is an American football stadium. It was built for both. So the NFL worked at it and have forged a relationship where right now, most people on both sides of the pond, less so in America, but still, they have like a grudging respect for what we're doing here now, would probably be okay with there being a team. I would say it's a case of when, not if, there's an actual franchise in the UK. That's the right way to do it. Major League Baseball, which you know I can talk about all day.
Please don't.
I'm going to do in about 30 seconds, right? We don't have the culture. We have about 45 baseball diamonds. We don't play it at school. And before you say it, rounders ain't baseball. It's a hugely complicated sport to understand. It took me 2 years when I fell in love with it. It's not about hitting a home run over the park. It's not what you see in the films. And we just don't have a baseball culture. And they tried to have the one-night stand. They tried it 2 years in a row. And it didn't work. We don't have the stadiums, we don't have the culture, and we don't have the interest in the sport. And I'm okay with that. The NBA, and I'm aware our special guest is listening to this, the NBA was never a one-night stand, nor was it, I think, the right relationship. It was more that ex you have, and I'm talking to you specifically here, Natalie. It's that ex you have that you know you really shouldn't ring, but you do, and once in a while you Netflix and chill. It's been on and off and on and off. And on again. And right now it's on. And this is where we're going to get into this subject. And our guest is going to tell us everything we know. And I think that Stuart Hodge, who has enough knowledge of basketball to fill Madison Square Garden, whether it's for Sky Sports, whether it's for his podcast, or whether it's spending time to talk to us.
Or Taylor Swift's wedding.
Or even. Taylor Swift. He was at Taylor Swift's wedding. Stuart, first of all, looking through the history of American sport here, it's not far off analogy-wise, is it?
It is a challenging thing that the NBA are trying to do. But first off, I have to say, I'm delighted to join this particular threesome. on this wee podcast today.
Brilliant.
Got to have a bit of fun, right?
Yeah, it's all right. We're launching the podcast on OnlyFans next week, so that's good.
See, it's only fans that you need for a sport to be successful, right?
Yeah,
He's done this before.
You're not far off, and this is different. And I want you to really get into the weeds in this. I think we're trying to learn more about the business of sport, but it's through our experts that we really understand it. And what we usually have in sport is a foreign body comes in and we kind of almost resent that intrusion. But NBA are working with FIBA to start NBA Europe. That to me feels like a game changer. And explain who FIBA are. Don't leave anything out. Get so far down into the weeds, you're digging them up by the roots.
Right, that's fine. I'll go and get my gardening clothes on and get right into it. So the FIBA is the International Basketball Federation, the FIFA type equivalent, but maybe not courting quite as much controversy as FIFA are at the moment. And they have set up a joint task force alongside the might of the NBA to launch a basketball product in Europe. And in realistic terms, what that means is European basketball is absorbing more capital in the 24 months that this is going to happen before it launches than it is raised in its entire history.
Wow.
So what you've got with basketball is you've got a unique challenge because there are 270 million or so basketball fans in Europe. It's the fastest growing sport. It's the number 2 sport behind football. And yet basketball takes less than 1% of Europe's 45 billion sports media and sponsorship market.
Wow.
So what you've got here is you've got a disruptor coming in trying to level that playing field somewhat.
You're probably quite surprised there at the reference of the success of basketball in Europe.
No, I get that it's a really successful sport. I've seen it when I've gone abroad, funnily enough, to cover football.
Yeah.
I've seen Spain standing still because someone's won a basketball match. Like,
Yeah.
I understand it.
But Spain, France, Croatia, the list goes on. We're looking at like 5, 6, 7 countries in Europe that are putting crowds in at 5, 6, 7,000 for regular season games.
Yeah. So I understand it, but how's it going to work then with the leagues that currently exist
Boom.
versus what the NBA are trying to do?
That's the rub, right?
Right, this is the bit that's very, very interesting. So it could have gone one of two main ways, right? The EuroLeague, which is the existing basketball superpower, if you like, in European basketball. It's where Real Madrid play, where Barcelona play. And this is an important point, right? Because Barcelona, Fenerbahce, Real Madrid, Panathinaikos, they're all playing basketball. And if you've got franchises in London and Manchester, which is 2 of the 12 target cities, and London in particular is the most valuable one in terms of the bids, over $1 billion, that says to me, if you get, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, definitely not out the gate, but let's say Arsenal play Man City at basketball. Are you trying to tell me that that's not going to be a differentiator in terms of getting casual fans who maybe have a sort of fledgling interest in basketball to go, oh my goodness, right? Let's stand up and have a look at this, have a look at what's going on. The next step of that is by launching a product in Europe that can break. And Britain is such a fascinating place because this is the place that there is the highest potential. It's the biggest untapped market in basketball globally. So we are, by virtue of being for this country, we are at the centre of the melting pot of this. And I tend to look at the big clubs when I'm judging this. So if you look at Real Madrid and Barcelona ratified a 10-season EuroLeague extension to 2035-36. Real Madrid was the last of the 13 existing EuroLeague clubs to renew a 10-year licence, but it's got a €10 million opt-out. And both of those clubs are understood to have bid for NBA Europe anyway. So it's not necessarily saying that Real Madrid committed for 10 years. They bought a 10-year option with a €10 million break clause, essentially. And against €500 million, which is the kind of floor for franchises, €10 million in financial terms is a rounding error.
Yeah, it's pocket change to people like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Natalie Pirks. This is the type of money they just drop without even thinking about it, which is unimaginable. That top's from a Paris boutique. Just going to say that, and I'm going to move on. From a business point of view, and I think this is the key to wrap it up, is they've already said we're entering a relationship with you, to go back to that analogy, because they've said we have set aside a potential £3 billion loss on this across NBA Europe over its first, I think it was 3 seasons they referenced. So $1 billion a year they're willing to lose to get to year 4 of this. So they have that, and that would encourage me. That would make me be a little bit more confident of it. But what about all the other business pieces that need to be in place? You're the expert in this, Stuart. Will it get the crowds? Will it get the television coverage? And will it get the sponsorship?
Well, that's the idea behind having the might of the NBA involved here, right? The NBA is not coming into this without a knowledge of how these things work. They also have partners economically and partners in every sort of facet of running a sports league that give them both knowledge and gravitas as they come towards doing this. So it's not someone coming to the table without a knowledge of how to put this thing together. It's someone who has, and the NBA, I'll be honest, they don't tend to do things unless they're sure on it. They, as an organisation, they tend to only do things once they're certain that they can make it work. And that is what I think the interesting part's going to be here. There's obviously a lot of secrecy and a lot of confidentiality around the bidding process, but we do know some things. In terms of the UK, in London, there's been reported interest from Liberty Global, and a consortium that involves Daniel Levy, the former executive chairman of Spurs, and Jamna Jaffe, and the Rubin family are interested as well. Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, Todd Bowley. Then in Manchester, that's different from London because the London Lions have already been talking to the EuroLeague. That's the existing big London basketball team. But whether they decide to go one way or another, or whether it's a new entity in London that springs up, there's so many ways that could go. In Manchester, though, the NBA have that exclusively because the EuroLeague aren't as interested in Manchester. Yeah. And an important point as well is you sometimes see a bit of differentiation. Definitely if you look at basketball in the UK, Super League Basketball, which is the main domestic entity, it does feel a lot more like a regional product, with all due respect intended. And that is reflected in how the UK performs internationally at basketball level. So what we're talking about here is something that could potentially be a massive infrastructure play as well. And the NBA has already committed money alongside the government to making that happen. A massive sum. So with that in mind, this is something that I feel we're just going to learn. And the franchise announcements are going to take place as we move from summer into autumn and then probably heading into next year with the idea of that October 2027 launch. So as we talk on this podcast today, we're sitting just on the cusp of this beginning to build into the behemoth of a snowball it's going to be going down that hill.
Can I ask you both this as a final thought then? Obviously, Colin, you are a huge sports fan of American sports in general, right?
Mainly baseball. These bags are brought to you by the Toronto Blue Jays.
Right. So how do you both feel about an American sport coming here and being played here and not your team?
No. You sat there playing possum for all of this second story today, and you've just asked a really deep question, and I'm interested to know what Stuart thinks in this. First, who's your team? Who's your NBA team?
Orlando Magic.
Right. When the Orlando Magic play in London, on a scale of 1, I hate it, 10, I love it, what's your answer?
Dude, right. I covered the Orlando Magic coming to Europe last year, right? My first NBA game, I was an accredited journalist. That was the one in Berlin. So it was a double header between the Magic and the Memphis Grizzlies. The first one in Berlin, the Magic have got 3 German players, so it was like a home game. And it was amazing. So I'm sitting in the room with Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, and then I wanted to experience it as a fan as well. So I had tickets with me and my fiancée, and we sat and we watched it, and I went from Stuart with the austere kind of professional vibe to, oh my God, I'm a fan in dreamland. And that was an amazing experience. And doing it in London, I mean, nearly as good, but probably leaning a bit more towards the kind of journalistic side, but still had a great time. And I absolutely loved it. 10 out of 10.
I don't. So I am much more open to an NBA Europe. I'm much more open to an NFL team. And this is just pure fan, probably is no place to talk about this in a sports business podcast, but I just don't want my Toronto Blue Jays outside of Toronto. I don't want my Mets outside of New York. I don't want my Padres outside of San Diego. I always feel like It's Coke Zero, right?
I love Coke Zero.
Okay, well, I knew you were going to say that. let's okay. Imagine that. You get what I mean, though, right?
Yeah, it's sort
like
of.
it is a version of it, but it's not. Like it's not what was invented. It's not in its purest form, right?
It's not got 7 tablespoons of sugar in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the product comes from America, you're not going to get the top level of basketball. That's always going to be the NBA, right? I think that's a given. However, it's kind of true in football as well, right? The colour of polo shirt that I'm wearing will give you a clue to who my football team is, along with the accent.
Hibs.
And Hibernian. No, Celtic play in Europe. And Europe feels like a backwater. We feel like a backwater in terms of Europe. And it's really hard for Celtic, which is a club which has more global gravitas and more global intangibles from a brand standpoint. There's some business jargon for you, right? Celtic have more of that than I think a lot of the clubs in the Premier League. Definitely, I mean, with all due respect, Bournemouth are in Europe this year, right? Bournemouth don't have that same global pool and attraction, but they play in the behemoth that is the Premier League.
Yeah.
And as a result can bid like 10 times what Celtic can for the exact same player, and are in a different market in terms of they need to find better players to operate in the Premier League. Regardless of the way you look at it, you're always going to have to be compromising in some way, because football is still what it always was, but the power of neoliberal capitalism and globalist economics means that you're in a position where Celtic, despite their history, despite all of the things that they have, are not going to be able to compete successfully very often at Champions League level. And when they do, bigger fish are going to come and pluck the players away, financially speaking, but not bigger fish in terms of a global recognisability standpoint.
Stuart Hodge, you're so ahead of the curve in this story. It feels like we're sort of ahead of even the beginning of it being a mainstream conversation. So we'll continue to monitor this. We'll play back the clips of you saying it's going to be a huge success if it fails. We won't play back any of our clips if we were
obviously
wrong.
not.
No, we'll just delete them. You lovely man. Good luck with everything, and love to the family that is going to grow long into the night. Well done, mate.
Thank you very much. Great
Thank
speaking
so
to you
much.
guys.
Thank you. Lovely to speak to you. And with that, lovely man, right? Lovely man. Business is closed. And after hours, at the end of the podcast, and I absolutely encourage you to tune out now, we are just going to share some of our week, like one thing each that we're going to talk about. Sometimes it's to better our relationship. Think of it like marriage counselling. Stop leaving me voice notes. Right? It is the most selfish thing of all the things you can do. Imagine it back in 1986, right?
Yeah.
When phone numbers were 4 digits. My granny and granddad's number, 6694. People used to say their number, right? And I went,
Always.
6694.
Do you still remember your friends' numbers as well? Because I do.
Loads of them, yeah. I go up to 10 digits.
Can't remember what I did yesterday. Still know my friend's phone number from 1991.
You go, hiya, Nanny. You all right? Yeah. Don't talk. Don't say a thing. Let me tell you everything that I think, and then I'm just going to hang up. Bang. I get it. I've no signal. There's places for it. Love notes. If we ever get to that stage, who knows the future, you can go, just thinking of you. And if you want to send me a message like that, platonically, I would be up for that. But when you tell me about your day in a voice note, there's no interaction there. It's going to ruin this podcast. You do it like every other day.
You literally sent 2 back-to-back voice notes yesterday to me.
And what was the first one?
You.
Stop sending me notes. No, it wasn't. But then I'm in that situation. Like, what do I do? Like, do I reply via voice note? Do you not want me to ring you?
Yeah, okay. Case for the defence.
Then I'm Larry David. And then that puts me in a place where my day's ruined.
You won't get a single voice note from me now.
Yes.
And you'll understand what it's like to feel left out in the
cold.
cold.
And then I'll be like, little message. You can still send me them. It's fine. I'm low.
No.
I'm
one and done. Once you're done, you're done.
Yeah. Whatever our Bebo account is, let us know what you think about. Anyway, what's your thing?
Giraffes.
Oh!
Okay, so giraffes are my happy place.
Yes.
This is what you don't know about me. You would know if you listened to my voice note.
But if you sent me a voice note about a giraffe, I can't tell you what I think about giraffes. That's what I mean. Okay.
Right.
Don't go back there. Let's go to the happy place.
Giraffes are my happy place.
Yes, why?
I have fed them in Kent and Kenya. I don't know why. I can't explain to you. If I see them, I feel peaceful.
Right. I love a giraffe.
This week I discovered the Tanganyika Wildlife Park in Kansas
Yeah.
on Instagram.
Okay.
And they had to perform an emergency C-section on this giraffe.
Okay. I'm bad at bad stories about animals.
She didn't make it, but they gave this calf a 5% chance of survival. They don't survive C-sections, right?
Cue the Rocky music.
Yeah, and now
we can't afford the Rocky music.
Baby Milani. Took her 2 minutes to take her first breath. And they've been doing this round the clock looking after the baby. And she's just taken her first steps. Fans have donated thousands of dollars to keep this. And she's got a little purple scarf, which was hiding like her IV. And honestly, I'm now obsessed with baby Milani. And that's what's been making me happy.
I have to stay away from those stories. Do you remember the monkey that was thrown out of its troop and had to have the...
Yeah.
And then had to have the toy, and then, that killed me. I was in floods. And then someone said, "There's good news about it." I was like, "No, I just don't want any news about it." Like,
oh no, I need the news about it.
Hugely upsets me, these individual stories about animals. So basically, I insulted you and you upsetted me. Yep. That's all for High Performance Business. Let me be the first to say about NBA Europe as we say goodbye today. Levy out! Levy out! We'll see you next time.
Bye.